we dicked around out in the.
Plus Billy was late.
Yeah, we'll blame him.
Thanks, guys. You're lucky I'm here. I'm bringing the topic tonight.
No kidding.
Hey, how's Grammy doing again?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was. I had to run up to Jim Thorpe because what's the name? They did the final walkthrough on the house, and the lady wanted some stuff out. So, needless to say, I had to run up there and push a entertainment center to the curb and empty the washer that still had laundry in it. And yeah.
I don't know if we have anybody on. If it is going, anybody checking? There's Mike. What's happening, Mike? Oh, so good to hang out with you yesterday. So good.
Okay, my volume's off. All volumes are off.
Chris Owens.
Was it my I don't have mine hooked up, so.
Hey, Mike. So we got Mike and Chris.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Chris. And 2 others are watching, too. Well,
what's new, guys? Well, Terry's cross member will be in a couple days.
Well,
you don't really need that.
I see. Now I differ with you there. They put it there for a reason.
There's a structural reason, right?
No.
As it keeps the 2 pieces of the frame.
Well, I don't know, but it's there for a reason.
It's there for a
Believe
reason.
me, manufacturers don't put anything on they don't have to.
Are you on? Turn your mic on.
Am I?
No.
How about now?
Oh, there we are.
Welcome to the party, Don.
Wow, we can turn my volume down a little.
Oh, you're nice and hot on that one. Ooh. Go ahead and talk for a second. Let me.
Yeah. So anyway, Billy, I think if they could save $1.35 by not putting a part on, they will.
I mean, I know they will, but
yeah,
I think it's.
I think it was just. I always thought it was just to protect the exhaust.
I don't think so. I think it's got some, or otherwise it'd be some cheesy piece of metal or plastic.
It is a pretty cheesy piece of metal.
Not really. Not compared to Kia.
True. Had one of them. I love that car.
Guys are killing me.
It's like my Honda. Hey, Quinn.
Chris, you got that Jeep cleaned up yet? Or did you even get it dirty?
He had it dirty, and then on the way home, he stopped at the car wash and then took it home.
Of course he did.
I went over to his house at 10:30 at night because I owed him some. I forgot my wallet, so he paid for today.
Right.
So I go over to drop the cash off, and he's in the garage at 10:30 at night, like detailing it with his toothbrush.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Polishing with silk rags.
I can't talk too much because I was detailing it in the parking lot at Miller Keystone.
How did that go? We have a good turnout?
Yeah, we had a good turnout. More than right about doubled.
Yeah.
What the other team had done.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we're gonna make it a competition though.
Going forward, yeah.
The problem is we had a lot more people that wanted to actually donate, but they couldn't because there was no more spots.
Right.
So.
Maybe they'll get another Bloodmobile out, or...
I mean, it would have been like a Bloodmobile. They could have had like 2 or 3 of them there.
Yeah.
And then the actual...
Oh, that would have been smart.
Put like 2 Bloodmobiles in there.
Huh.
All right. Now, I can't find the damn agenda.
Do you want me to forward it to you?
Or back to you?
Back to you. Yeah.
Well, you would think since I did it... But I'm sure it's on iCloud somewhere.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That's where it is. It's on iCloud.
You want it? I'm sending. I can airdrop it to you.
No,
he's too proud.
I know.
That's
it
exactly.
Fancy MacBook.
That's it exactly. Too proud.
Now you're missing out, Billy.
Nah.
Oh, no Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, I changed the Wi-Fi's.
I'm good. I can use my phone if I need to look it up.
Well,
yeah, I'm good.
I changed the Wi-Fi's. Go ahead and try to get on it. It's the top-down one. And it should ask me.
You mean the one that has a VIN number in it?
No, it should say top-down.
I got it.
The Wi-Fi's.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys are so fancy.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't need it.
I got a new...
Your last year's PC, Billy.
I'm okay with that.
I got a new Wi-Fi system, and
Although, I'm going to be working on cranking out some videos.
What's that?
I'm going to work on cranking out some videos.
I'm telling you, you should have a Mac for that.
I got a software that works great.
I know, but Mac, like the iMovie, that's...
It's easy. I mean, I've
It
used
is.
it before, but what I have is the same exact thing. It's
It's not.
drag, drop, cut,
it's
paste,
PC.
this, that.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, fine.
all right, I might end up having you just send it to me. No, I've got it right here. It's right here. It's up. It's up.
We've also had some more. We made up some ground on the YouTubes.
That's good to hear.
Oh wow, actually.
Yeah, you
really-
have mine yet, right? You're going to put it out after this episode?
Yeah,
All right.
186 subscribers. Oh yeah,
I think I'm going to do that rear video when I go back to work.
that'd be good.
Yeah, because I can use it for class,
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
Oh. And Chris
That'd be
wants to
real
do it. I
good.
think we're going to do it in Chris's garage.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, his dad's garage.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
a garage.
Yeah, you don't want my Jeep sitting in there for a weekend.
I wouldn't mind it.
I didn't care.
Maybe can we get it up high enough to get it off the? If I pick it up by the frame, so the axles are free.
What do you
Give it
mean?
Enough height.
I don't know. Probably not.
That's the problem. In my garage, I can't.
You want to take the axles fully out of it.
No, I don't want to take the axles out, but they got to hang free. I can't have jack stands under them. I got to support it by the frame so I can use the axle spreader for the carrier. Because if the jack stands are under the rear axles to pick it up,
Mhm.
the spreader won't work right. The axle spreader is what pulls apart the rear to properly side load the carrier
Oh,
bearings.
Okay.
Because I've been, up until this point, I've just been kind of forcing them in,
Right.
which they'll work for a while, but the right way to do that is a carrier. So I bought the carrier spreader to do it.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Probably not.
Yeah. I'll either do it at the school or
I think
Chris's.
I didn't do them that way.
No,
I know that.
I haven't been doing them either. I've been greasing the shims,
Right.
the plates that go behind the bearings,
Mm-hmm.
tapping them in. But the right way to do that is, I mean, the more preload you have on them, the better off they are to an extent.
Right.
So I'll get the carrier spreader, and then I can really preload the crap out of them. And,
Oh, okay.
you know, it's those two holes that are on a Dana, on
Right.
the back of the Dana, that goes in there, and then it's got a screw on the top and a screw on the bottom. You screw it out, and it just spreads this. You can actually spread it a couple
Millimeters or
yeah,
something.
But, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then you put it all in and then
And then
undo
release it, and yep.
Interesting.
So then all I really need to do the job legitimately after that is a pinion depth, the set to do pinion
Right.
depth, and then I don't have to take it apart and put it back together. And
Yeah.
so
Loads of fun, let me tell you.
Loads.
With a heavy load.
How we doing? We got some people on here. If anybody shared it out. Hi, Sammy. Good to see you. I hope say hi to Bree for us.
Mike just shared it out.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mike.
I must not be seeing all the comments.
I don't think you are.
I'm seeing all the Facebook. Interesting. I'm seeing all of them. Oh yeah, I saw pictures of your hike and stuff. It looked really cool. What's up, Will? What's up, Amy?
All right, we're gaining some people.
We're gaining some people.
Yep.
And then we'll hit that magic button in just a few minutes. Yeah, while we're waiting on, to get rolling, we went out in the parking lot and
Driveway.
That spot out there in the front of the house. And Don diagnosed and found a rattle that's been in my Jeep
Something's
for
a little loose.
3 years.
It's not loose, tight tolerances.
Tight tolerances with the exhaust and
The
cross member, the front cross member. And of course this weekend, was it last weekend?
Last weekend,
I beat the shit out of the cross member a little bit more and probably put it a little bit closer to the exhaust, and so now it
Does it all the time.
all the time. Before it was every once in a while it would hit the right frequency, but now it's. But
We're good.
You did more than probably 15 techs at the dealership have been able to do over time.
We're good. We fixed it. Well, we didn't fix it. We're gonna.
you can get the persuader out, and we can use the persuader.
That's what I said too. I said we'd tweak
It's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
Tweak, grind, whatever. But we can put a new one on however you want to do it.
We'll look at it.
But I think there may be Jeep Life Pod
Cross
members coming in the near future.
and a new branding.
Yep.
A new branding.
Yep.
Speaking of branding, we do have. I was hoping to get them today, but we do have a shit ton of stickers coming. So we're a little back ordered on
Stickers.
I
And
owe a few people some stickers. And
I think I may owe a few people some stickers too.
I was hoping to have them tonight, but definitely we'll have them this time next week. I got a shit ton. Yeah. Now, Mike, it definitely wasn't a heat shield, but it was exhaust related, kind of, which was what our initial. I
thought was.
I thought, it could have been anything, but it was something thin and metally hitting each other, and so I didn't think it was anything major. I even after they replaced drive shafts, to solve the problem, I didn't think that was it, and I didn't think it was anything in the engine mechanical. For me, as a musician, I think in frequency and vibrations,
right.
And that's exactly what it seemed like to me. Yeah. I mean, we could almost pinpoint down to the exact RPM that it was going to occur in, and we were able to put it under load and not go anywhere, and instantly I could just I just hold it, and you were able to find it and do exactly so. Yeah, definitely not mechanical. So I'm not stressed about it at all. Now that we've kind of said, that's exactly what it is.
You weren't really stressed about it at the beginning.
No, I was just annoyed.
You were like, this thing. Is
every time.
For the beating you put on that thing this past weekend, not this past weekend, weekend before, you're pretty chill. I mean,
I don't know. There were some moments where I wasn't chill. It was. I would. Both of you have been out with me on challenge. I don't have a lot of fear, but that's the Jeep I have to drive home in, and I have to drive it the next day, and and it's like
I don't.
Yeah, right. Yours.
That's why
if it sits in a parking lot, big deal. Or if I use a AAA drive, big deal. I think it's time for us to go ahead and hit record, and maybe we'll roll this into part of the episode. How's that sound?
Sounds
I'm gonna go ahead and hit that button. Well, hello, lifers, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. We're a podcast that just loves being in that Jeep life, and we like sharing it with you, our listeners, and we want to hear about your Jeep life too, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Welcome back to the studio. I am Terry. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined tonight by. Welcome back, guys.
Hey,
It's been a long time.
yeah, it has.
I feel like as we saw each other, out in the parking lot or driveway, as
Driveway.
Bill reminds me, it's my driveway. I felt like it'd been a hot minute since I had seen Dawn, and a lot's happened in that hot minute, and Bill and I we got to see each other yesterday,
Right, yeah.
but it'd been a while.
It was. And in the same time we walked down here, and I said to Donna, I was like, when was the last time I saw you? It was like
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago? Jeez.
Yeah.
So then we had to,
life just got crazy for everybody, and
real quick.
Yeah.
Too.
Real
and
quick.
it's funny because at first I was like, I kind of need a break, and then tonight I'm like, let's go. I'm ready to record.
Yeah. I was kind of feeling the same way. I did the episode in the middle of the week last week with Scott.
Yeah.
But and I love Scott. Scott and I are pretty close, and I went out with him wheeling and everything, but to be honest, it wasn't the same. I was sitting here, camera was in front of me, but I kept looking over to empty places, and I was like, oh man, this will be so much fun if the guys are here. But it was fun. It was a good time. And it's good to be back in the saddle again,
Agreed.
if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that we've got a lot to talk about. We spent the last 20 minutes or so just catching up, but it's been actually a very active week from a Jeep standpoint for us.
Yeah.
So Friday, Don,
Yep. Friday Chris and I went to AOA, so we couldn't make the last trip with you and Scott. And I had the itch, and Chris and I I think we both needed a wheel and brake, so I called him up, and he was good, and we went out. We decided to go to AOA. We were left at 8:30, gassed up at the Wawa on 61 where we always do, and drove up and got the Jeeps ready and paid up, and then he grabbed some lunch from a local vendor up there selling food.
Yeah, they do a good job.
They
do. Yeah. Yep.
They have good breakfast sandwiches.
That's what he grabbed. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Real
we
good breakfast.
went out in a trail. The first thing we hit was, and he hadn't been on it yet, so we hit Trail 12. And I had my boys, so the boys I wanted them to see some of the sights.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I wanted them to see that coal vein that shoots down through the mountain.
Yep.
And so we did we picked it up off the main trailhead and did it almost all the way down. We cut the one loop short.
Right.
Went back through Timbertown. Got back. We ate lunch up at the the overlook, and then we went down to the new connector that goes from 10 up to I don't know, connects a bunch of green trails. It's up the
all the
fire
way up,
line, which was pretty exciting. That was
Pretty
pretty
gnarly,
cool.
too,
It's steep. I mean, we were talking about that outside. It's probably one of the steepest climbs I've done yet.
Oh wow.
And wheel slipping, had some wheel slip. Chris was able to crawl it. He's got the limited slip, and geared a little bit better than I am, but he was able to crawl it. But I had my foot in it to get to the top, and
to win it.
Yeah,
Full
we were talking
send.
about it. I'm sitting there and I'm starting to get wheel slip, and I'm like, so what's the plan, Don? Do we call it quits and try and back down and hope to God we don't end up sideways?
Right, because you end up sideways when you're
done.
backing down.
And
It's rolling, right? It's rolling.
Roll. Yeah, man, that's an 8 mile hill, I think. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
you might get a power line to stop you.
yeah, well, it's got steps, but I'm thinking I'm gonna end up
Each step is going to be a roll.
That's the bounce,
Yeah.
So, my plan was I just kept rolling it harder and harder, and get some wheel speed up and cutting a wheel to try and switch back it a little bit, and finally broke the top of the hill, and so it was. It was pretty extreme, and then we went down and we were gonna do a black that we thought was Marnie Rubble, which ended up being like a double black. I think it was SOB was the name of the trail, and I'm looking at it,
and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
I need to go find that.
Well, you know what? I mean, the bypass for it's like a blue,
Right.
Okay.
So we can wander down there. It's I said to Chris, I'm like, we're not gonna get out of here. It was about 2:30. I'm like, we're not gonna be out by 5:30. So we did a bunch of blues down around there, and then we took off out of there. And my boys were done anyway. We were out by 4:00. They had enough seat time in.
So, I hear you.
But it's amazing. Kids love the excitement. They love to be out there for the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then after that, that excitement level, it's, didn't we just pass a tree just a minute ago? Oh, look, it's another rock.
Well, they would get stoked, like on Trail 12, where there's a couple, declines and inclines. They'd be like, yeah, right. And then when we were on the connector, the new, the fire line, they're like, all right. My boys were like, get it, Dad, get it. Right. And so, but the rest of the time when you're cruising 2 obstacles or whatever, you're like,
whatever. Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
But that's cool to take them. And, I love taking my daughter out.
Yeah.
It's fun, but I have to kind of plan shorter days.
Yeah.
For those.
Yeah. And that's kind of what this was. This wasn't an all day and I knew that was going to happen. And originally Chris was going to take his son too, and it fell through. He wasn't able to, but. But we had a really good time. I mean, Chris got out of there with 1 mark on his Jeep.
One.
That's it. 1 wheel rash, 1 small little spot that, trust me, he buffed it out, filled it in.
It's already perfect again,
Washed his Jeep before he got home.
I was going to say, he probably took, a water system with him, and every time it would get a little dirty, he would just clean it off on the trail.
I went over to his house at 10:30, and he's out in the garage, like, detailing the thing with, like, a silk cloth and a toothbrush, so. I'm like, I said, are you kidding me? Is it the same Jeep that was on the trail? I mean, just pristine.
It's so funny because we've gone out with him before. I mean, we've wheeled quite a bit with Chris. We love Chris. He's got that Freedom Edition,
beautiful Jeep,
which is a Sahara with some additional stuff.
I don't know if it is. I think the thing's loaded. It is.
Right. It's a Sahara with some additional.
Can you get leather in a Sport?
It's
I don't think so.
Then it's a Sahara.
It's a Sahara. It's a Sahara with additional. Markings and
he got, like, when he ordered it with the 373s, limited slip, some of the other goodies. It had the real good Mopar rock sliders on it and the steel bumpers front and rear.
Because I originally was looking at a Freedom Edition, red one, just like this one, But I ended up going. For the amount of money, it was a better deal for me to go sport and then build it up. Because mine right now, it's still, I've paid less than I would for that, and it's way more capable. But he babies that thing, and it's almost comical how clean he tries to keep it while we're out.
He said Oscar Mike edition.
Right. Oscar Mike, yeah.
Which goes because he's a vet, so that works.
Right. It makes sense. But it's a killer Jeep. I can't bust his chops too much.
Absolutely.
But he does keep that thing super clean. He had the magnetic
door skins,
right?
Yes,
Didn't he have that on?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To me, doesn't that, if you get dirt behind that, doesn't that scratch it up?
They were off by the time got home. Off, I'm sure buffed. I mean, so Chris and I have been lifelong friends.
Right, sure.
We wrestled together, and I mean, we were best friends in high school. And always did the car thing together. And I got into Jeeps, and he got into Jeeps, but for as long as we've been hanging out, like, his cars are meticulous. I used to be a lot more meticulous in my cars, but I still think I'm fairly meticulous. Never had a car as like I hate when he comes over to my house because he's like, that's dirty.
He should be like a what is it, a car show judge,
right? He should
something like that. He'd be good at that.
He has an eye for it. He really does. I mean, the guy can clean cars.
Well, he needs to get his ass over in my parking lot out front.
Both of ours.
But it was great. I wish we got the text to come join you, and I was like, man, if I'd had a day notice, I could wiggle my way out of some work. Hope work isn't listening.
Yeah, it was like last minute.
It was very last minute.
Really, you were like the night before. You're like,
it was like 9:00 at night.
Hey, anybody want to go wheeling tomorrow?
And normally I'll jump all over it, but it was one of those things.
Plus, you were just out. You're still fixing the Jeep from the Scott.
Yeah.
Details.
Add it to the list. I haven't actually fixed anything. Well, no, I take that back. I have fixed something on it.
Somewhat fixed the door.
Right. Well, after we recorded last week, I found out that my door hinge was twisted, mangled,
and so it's still sitting in my garage.
Oh, is it? That's where I was. The other day,
still
I
have it.
looked through the Jeep upside down. I was like, what did I
put
do with this?
Yeah, you gave it to me, and I'm going to try to bend it back.
Right, so I can have a spare.
Right.
But, yeah, that was fun, doing a trail repair in the orthodontist parking lot.
It worked.
It worked.
Hey, yeah.
I love it. So yesterday,
Yes. We went to the Miller Keystone Blood Bank
yeah.
in Bethlehem with the Jeep Club,
Yeah.
and we were able to donate some blood
Yeah, so
for those vampires out there.
they needed it. They need it. So everybody out there, get off your ass, go donate some blood.
Absolutely.
They need it right now.
They really do.
So, but it was a good time. I think, give or take, there were probably 30, 35 Jeeps in and out.
In and out, yeah.
I have a favorite that I saw yesterday. What was your favorite that you saw yesterday?
There was a lot of cool Jeeps.
There were a ton of cool Jeeps.
That Comanche.
I knew that's where you were going to go with that.
So this bright orange Comanche came in, drove in, and it all heads turned as this thing drove through. It was really clean. It just all stock parts except the paint job. It was like an aftermarket paint job, and just I think it was sweet.
It was beautiful. He was the original owner, and it was all, like you said, all original, and it looked pretty much as if it drove off the lot.
That's probably worth some serious money not right now. I'm not kidding you, because they're either
People want
rotted out
Comanches,
or they're like on 44s, like cut up.
And it was one of those things where I was conflicted inside.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I can see where I can cut the fenders out of that. I can lift it up. I can do all these things to it. And then the other part of me was like, dumbass, don't do that. That's scary the way it is.
I put that in the garage. I wouldn't even haul anything with it. I'd
No.
wax the bed.
Wax the bed.
Yeah, it was quite
It was
nice.
sweet.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it when you get up close to it, the interior was showing a little bit of age. I think the inside of one of the door
I
panels.
think it was an 86, 80,
Yeah.
something around there. So
Yeah.
it's been around the block a couple times.
Yeah,
And
for sure. But it did look. It sounded good when he was driving
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I agree. That was
it was a 2.8 liter.
Loved it. Oh, God. Dream ruined.
Oh, sorry.
Is that an 8-cylinder?
No, it's
it's
a
a-
V6.
it's
it
a
was
V6.
General Motor-ish V6.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It was came from an AMC era. It wasn't a horrible engine. I just would rather
It
have
had a little
4-liter.
to it.
They were good.
Yeah.
They weren't
It had like
bad.
a little. It sounded like a little bit of a cam in it or something.
It's like Frank Toady and LS engines,
Oh,
LS is
yeah.
a really good engine until you talk to Frank. Doesn't like him.
He ruined so much. No, that's not true.
No.
He's a good dude.
He's awesome.
But it was an awesome time just to hang out with a bunch of Jeepers doing good things.
Right.
Um,
Gave out some prizes. Got some pizza,
Yeah.
some breakfast goodies. Hung out with some Jeepers we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah.
Donated some blood.
yeah, I got a hole in my arm still.
Yeah. Same here.
But it was,
I detailed my Jeep in the parking lot.
you did. Yeah, it was.
It's kind of a nice place to do it once in a while. You just
yeah.
got the spray shine and
Well, we were there early enough. We'd gotten the tent set up, and he's just going and doing it. Jeeps are coming in and backing in, and then in true Bill fashion, props up the engine with a can of
Like
cleaner.
Yeah, it was like the chemical guys, like synthetic quick shine, whatever it
it's good
is.
stuff.
So he could show off the engine bay, which
Yeah.
looks great, dude. Looks
Yeah.
really good. But
That's what happens when you spend like 3 months cleaning every nook
I know,
and cranny and mud and piece of everything out of it.
and then
You
not
know-
wheeling it.
So listen, you know what? Like my fenders had about 15 pounds of mud up between the
Yeah.
upper fender and the liner.
geez.
Like I kept power washing, it just kept coming out, coming out.
So, funny story, Don. This is how long it's been. I comp cut the rear of the Cherokee.
Yeah.
So I got to show you this
Oh
picture.
no, I saw it. You
the
sent
picture.
it to me. Yeah, with,
It
with the
muff.
mud.
Literally like 40 pounds of mud.
It's an inch higher
Dried
now
dirt.
in the back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah.
That stuff had to be like cement too.
It literally came out in chunks.
Yeah.
And so,
You could build a foundation with it.
absolutely, 100%.
Oh, it's crazy.
But yeah, that's where the mud sits, up in those fenders.
I know.
Wow. So and the other got some new stuff this week because I had to order stuff.
Yeah, because you broke stuff.
Because I broke stuff. But I did get 2 things that weren't related to the brake.
Right. You got some new and improved
I got some improvements.
aspects of your Jeep that's going to be helping with posting to our social media for our rides and all kinds of other fun jazz.
Yeah. So I did get the Ram mount,
Right.
which both of you saw, and I got a claw, and it is on the
The shit bar.
the grab handle in the front, and then a 6-inch
Extension arm.
Extension arm. Yeah, thank you. And then I got the tab tight for it, so it expands and puts the iPad, because I wanted an iPad as my map and guidance and music controller versus my phone, so that I could actually use my phone to
go live.
And do those sort of things, and use it as a camera as well, so that I wouldn't have to get out of maps, do that. So now I can leave the maps running, and I can track my where we go.
Yeah.
And so it
is nice to not have to get out of Maprica, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Stay in
Constantly
there,
have it up,
run it, you know.
Yeah.
And lay tracks. It was nice.
And man, that thing is really nice the way it mounts. I put it in yesterday. I've been driving it all day yesterday and today with it, and it has a little bit of a vibration to it, but nothing I can't handle.
Right.
And being able to see, because I'm getting old. I'm not young.
I hear you. I'm running
my eyes.
Chris and I kept pulling over. I'm like, Chris, hold on a second.
Hold on,
I have to, I'm doing this on my
Yeah.
phone, and I'm kind of thinking the same thing.
But mounting that iPad Mini in there, and I pull up Maprica, and
So I'm in
it's
between
golden.
now. I'm going to throw a wrench in this whole conversation.
well, you're young.
Right, but I was thinking about just going with the Alpine system, and then I can run it all through my phone.
Will the Alpine run to Maprica?
Yeah.
Will it?
Oh, it does.
So is
It
that
does
like
full
screen-
GPS.
it does
screen mirroring.
Does it do
if
screen
you had
mirroring?
Apple AirPlay, would it run? Can the Apple AirPlay?
I don't think it will mirror
Maprica.
I don't think it'll mirror Maprica.
Well, how does what's the name use it then?
Who?
MJK uses it
I don't know.
on his.
Does he?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
But
So
yeah.
I was thinking about that. And that's
Cool.
another reason why I was looking at the Alpine system is because
Yeah.
I can run Maprica right
an
through
extra
it.
$3,200 sitting around.
Yeah. Well, that's the kicker right there. I spent I'm $65 all in.
Right, but you also bought an iPad to go along with it.
I bought the iPad for other reasons, but
But I would just be buying an iPad for
Sure.
that reason.
sure.
So one of the things that I have been thinking about was just doing the iPad to control my whole audio and everything.
yeah.
You know, you can do that as well.
You can.
And I might go that route. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can even use like iHeartRadio for radio stations.
Yeah.
and
Right.
stuff.
Right. And that's all my audio period comes through my phone.
Right, same here.
Prior
but-
to that.
Right.
So now everything's coming through my iPad because
iPad.
I got the cellular version. So
right,
it's just
right.
Pandora, Apple
Yeah, so,
Music,
I mean,
whatever.
They have
Well-
the center stack. You know, they got a thing where you just slide the iPad right in there.
Right.
You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I can't. I'm thinking more towards Big Red when I'm off-roading with puddles, so
Right.
that doesn't really work.
Right.
Sorry.
Actually, let me
Right.
clarify that first. I have to go back to work and start collecting paychecks.
I was going to say we got to get the monies coming in.
Yes. Tapped.
Yeah, the monies have to come in.
Yeah.
And so far, I really like that Ram mount. That I'm not sure that I got the right one because there's space above and below for it looks like wider
Right.
devices. But as far as being able to hold it secure, it doesn't matter. It works really, really well.
Well, absolutely. I have a RAM mount for my phone that mounts to my vector bar,
Yeah.
and that thing is absolutely great.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't even notice vibration in it.
Yeah.
And I usually run maps on it if I'm driving somewhere in Big Red and kind of going around.
Yeah.
Never have an issue.
That's perfect. Yeah, it's I'm blown away with it. It does move a little bit when I hit a bump.
But everything's going to.
But everything's going to.
Yeah, my phone in the RAM mount, the windshield mount does it.
Right.
I mean, it's just.
But it doesn't go anywhere. I can't move, physically move. When I have it tightened down,
when I was in it today,
I can't physically move.
Trying to.
Yeah, I can't physically move it. So
Rain Mount is good stuff. I swear by their stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sold on it right now. Yeah. So we'll see what happens when I put the Jeep on the rock. But
we'll see.
I think it's good. The next thing I ordered and got was a new recovery kit because last Sunday I had to do a little recovery,
which is going to translate into our main topic too.
Yes, it will nicely. Yeah. So I did order the Quadratech recovery kit. Mm-hmm. It's basically $100 on their website. When I unpacked it, was it you that said we should unpack it on the show?
No, Don said that.
Oh, Don. Yeah, brilliant.
To quote me, I said, let's tape that shit back up. And
right. That's right. That's exactly what you did. Yeah. Let's tape that shit back up and so we can do it on the show. But me, no, I got
You were a kid in a candy store and ripped the box apart, and it's like, well, I can't tape up 100 pieces.
Yeah. It really felt like quality stuff.
I can tell you it is.
Right? It's true. So I have two complaints, but I'm going to hold those off for a second, and I haven't used them out in the wild.
Okay.
So this is purely my being, So
I have one of these Quadratech
You do,
kits
and you've used it out in the wild.
Oh, I've used it a lot out in the wild.
Right.
So I want to hear your thoughts about it, and I will give my thoughts.
Absolutely. So when I open it up, it's obviously got a tree saver in it. It's got a very nice recovery strap in it so that you've got a decent amount of length so you can tow a rig out with it if need be.
Puddles.
The snatch block is solid. It's heavy. It's 20,000 pounds. And the shackles that are in it, it's good to have shackles.
They're 3/4 inch D-rings.
Yep.
That's what you want.
Yeah, they're the big, heavy duty D-rings.
Yeah, the only one that they make bigger than that are the 7/8, but they're so massive.
They do make an inch.
Yeah, and what is it? Like,
the inch
it doesn't
like
fit
the
in like
size of my head.
That's for like military, those 6x6s.
And those big dump trucks that are parked on.
But they do make an inch.
Yeah. So it just felt solid, and it's one of those things where it's a store branded, and I kind of was, do I want to? But it was $100 versus
$400.
Yeah, for ARB stuff, and
also you don't get a whole kit from ARB. You got to pick their. You got to get a recovery strap, then you got to get their.
No, they have a whole kit.
They do.
I had one at the tech day. It's really nice.
It's really super nice.
It's expensive.
It is, but it's one of those things where if that was my job to off-road all the time, and that's something I do, and I did 10 recoveries.
I think that's what Scott has
at a time.
It
is
an
and
ARB.
We used it. It's great.
I almost didn't give the one back. I was just going to buy the one that we used for Tech Day, but I just honestly I don't use them enough to warrant that kind of cost.
If I used it 5 times a year, I could justify it.
Right.
But if I'm going to use it twice a year, or once a year, then I can't justify spending that kind of money for it. And for the dollar to dollar, I felt like I got a good deal on this.
Right.
Reputation be damned or whatever, using an actual Quadratech branded something. I thought it was a good deal. When I opened it up, I felt I didn't feel like I was opening up anything cheap. I felt like I was opening something that was going to get me out of a jam, or get my friend out of a jam, whenever I needed it.
Right. And I ordered one 16 years ago from Quadratech when I built my TJ, and so by now, the only original parts that I have, I mean, the D-rings didn't wear out. I lost them. Actually,
they were stolen.
They were stolen. Actually, both straps. I just replaced the strap last year, but I had the strap up until last year. The tree saver I'd wore out a while ago.
Right.
I mean, I got a couple years.
Yeah, sure.
And you're saying wore out, like that means like.
Yeah, I used
got
it to
your money's worth.
And I told you, it's not all from wheeling. I'm not going to BS anybody. A lot of it was from pulling bushes out.
Right. But you used it.
Yeah, big time. But a lot of it was that, and it wore out. I had nothing broke, nothing. It just started fraying, and it was good stuff. And I don't know that if I had bought ARB, that it would have lasted any longer. And the only thing my kit didn't have that I wish it would have been the weight for take the energy out, right? But I usually just throw like a jacket or something over it, which isn't as good, but. Better than nothing.
Well, this one does have the.
Oh, does it have the weight?
It does.
Nice.
It does have the.
Has a weight bag in it.
Yep.
Has a set of gloves.
Yep. And the gloves.
That's right. I remember.
Somebody warned me the gloves weren't going to be that great. The gloves, I felt like they were thick. They felt good. They wouldn't fit me because of these big mitts, right?
We got bare hands.
So they are now my daughter's work gloves. When she's working on the Jeep.
Right.
But I used them the other day to rip out, like you say, bushes.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and
I know.
Just do stuff around the yard and this and that. Like I was like, oh, I need a pair of gloves. Wait, there's a set.
Yep.
You can never have too many in the,
No, that's it. So I'm going to get another
else
set.
They work good for when you take your end links off, put one glove on this side, one glove on that side, and throw it in the back so it doesn't get greasy.
There you go. So it gets the inside of it greasy. So when you put your hands in there,
absolutely.
Yeah,
you just don't wear those. That's the pair you're loaning out.
right. There you
Give
go.
them
There
somebody
you go.
else.
Yeah.
So I open it up. It's in the Jeep. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go with it.
All right. So here's my thoughts.
I want your thoughts, and then I'm going to give my cons to it. All right.
It's a great kit for anybody that's getting into wheeling.
Yep.
Personally, I got it. I won it at the Miller Keystone last year, the blood drive last year. And literally the next weekend I used it because I went off-roading with my idiotic buddies. But you know what? Like, it's one of those kits that, it's $100. You don't mind getting it. And with my idiotic buddies, something happens and it gets left at AOA for, let's see, 6 months.
Yeah.
A strap gets left here, a strap gets left there. Somebody grabs a strap.
It's a good point.
It's a kit that you don't, you care and it's nice to have, but at the same time, if somebody steals that strap off you, or
if you loan it, like if you loan it to somebody to pull somebody out,
right.
You don't see it for 6 months,
right?
You don't care
ever again. That's a good point. Never really thought about that.
You could replace that individual component, right?
Where I have a Factor 55 tree saver, that's a $90 tree saver,
right?
That I haven't seen to date.
Oh no!
So I'm like, I want that back, but you know what? The Quadratech tree saver, I would have been like, oh well,
whatever. Right, exactly. Because your tree saver was the cost of my.
And I was actually thinking about. I got into I got notes here. Max Pull.
Yeah.
I got into their. That's what I want to. We'll talk about it later. But that's I kind of got into their stuff lately, and that's what I want to get a set of Max Pull. Like I just bought all new tow lines and tree savers. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at this Max Pull stuff, but I mean, their stuff is expensive.
Right. It's like Bubba ropes too.
Yeah, well, that's what Brian Sterner was just saying. Bubba ropes stuff's expensive. Now the Max line or Max Pull, I have a reason why. We'll talk about it again a little bit later that I got into this stuff. But yeah, I never really thought about that. I mean, I don't know over the years how much I know my Quadratech stuff I had till I wore out, but I've bought stuff off Amazon and loaned it out and never saw it again. We've used it at the school to pull cars around, and it's disappeared. It's heck of a
gets
good
misplaced
point.
too.
Like, that's a really good point, Billy.
And you drag it through all kinds of mud, grit, grind, that, and the other thing. And you know what? You don't care. But that Factor 55 stuff, it's really expensive.
It is. Yeah.
Which I guess that kind of leads right into my con of the kit. I have two major cons. The first is
it's all yellow.
It's all yellow. Right? And it kind of bothers me that the webbing for the actual strap and for the recovery strap, it's all yellow, and then all the connecting parts is all yellow.
So it needs some kind of contrast.
You can't tell what is what just looking at right? And then you have to feel it. All right. So it would look better and I think more professional and be a little more, I don't want to say throwaway item, if it was yellow and black or yellow in something,
Right.
yellow and red, or some kind of.
Understandable.
So that would be my first, and I feel like I would take care of it better, from an ownership standpoint, if it was that two-tone and looked a little bit more, rather than just a Harbor Freight looking.
Well, I can say that it is a grade above Harbor Freight because I have a Harbor Freight toe strap, a 30-foot, and then I think in the Quadratec they give you a 20-foot toe strap. So I have a 30, a 20, a 10. I mean, this bag has grown.
Right, sure.
It doesn't fit in the bag anymore.
But it doesn't look any different than the Harbor Freight.
No, it does. They do look different.
But it's still both yellow.
They're both yellow.
Right,
but I'm
all
saying,
the way
like,
through.
if you look at like the
Sure.
the cross stitching and the webbing and everything like that, there is a difference.
But I want to be able to look at it when it's sitting 10 feet away from me and go
10 feet and 10 miles an hour.
There's my Quadratec one, right? So I want it to look a little bit different. I will clean it and take a little bit more care of it.
Right.
If that other part accent color is different, and it's not an accent, it's actual purpose for having it.
Yeah.
The other complaint I have is that bag. The bag is awful.
It's not that.
I almost didn't get it because of the bag.
Well, they cheaped out on the bag. They kind of went a little higher quality on everything else, and then cheaped out on the bag.
Charge me $5 more and give me a better bag.
Okay.
Bag.
See, now I don't keep any of my stuff in a bag, so mine's in that Koopy hole under the. I get everything. Everything fits in there except for I keep my remote up in the center console.
Right.
Yeah.
For the winch, and then when I go wheeling, what I do, just so I have everything ready, because it's like pet peeve of mine when somebody's stuck and you're like, hey, you got your I need a D ring and I need your tow rope. It's in the back under the cooler. It's in the it's in the back under the cooler and all the tool bag.
right.
They're in 4 feet of water, and like pet peeve. So I always get my stuff out and I stick it under one of the seats, so I can reach and grab it. And
which is another reason why I need a bag, is to be able to quickly grab that and set it up there.
Right, and that's the only downside of not having a bag. I just kind of, when I go out, I shove everything under. Usually, I put it under the passenger or driver rear seat.
Yep.
So I can reach back and grab it.
So that bag is, in my opinion, garbage.
Right.
When I ordered it, I thought, you know what, that'll be something I can throw my power tank
extra stuff
hose in and inflator.
Did you get a 30-foot hose for that yet?
No, not yet. I might. That's still on the do I or don't I thing. But that bag is awful. So I did order a Warren backpack recovery bag.
Oh, no kidding. They have backpack ones?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where that bag is not cheap. The backpack's not cheap.
Look at that.
But if you have to haul your recovery gear up to a
climb
location
or
whatever, I want it to be hands free. And with that Quadratec, it's definitely not hands free.
Great idea.
Throw in a backpack.
That's why Warren's the leader.
And carry it up. Our friend Eric.
We'll talk about that later too.
Was the one
that
got me into that. He was like, dude, you need to look at the Warren one. That's the one I use, and here's the reason why. And it was exactly right. I'm not stable climbing up rocks.
I'm not either.
Nobody fat, is. And I have bifocals, and just every strike is against me. Gravity and me, we're mortal enemies.
Yeah.
So I need both of my hands free, and if I'm carrying something, that's not a good thing. So
I agree.
So I can't wait to get that and ditch that Quadratec bag.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I want to go back to how you say that you get all your stuff ready.
Yes.
Like when you go out on the trail. I actually keep a tow strap underneath the driver's seat in puddles with a D-ring already attached to the one side.
Yep.
And then in the back, I usually I have, the milk crate, and then I have my toolbox, and then I have the Quadratec bag, and then I have the air tank. Yeah. So everything's nothing's on top.
Right.
Well, there is one thing on top. It's those fancy little pad things that I use when I lay in the parking lot to fix puddles.
Yeah. Right.
But no,
it's going to break. He needs to be able to lay down on something.
Absolutely. But in puddles, I can reach back and grab it. is close enough. So absolutely,
I've
I think
been
that
out in a trail. I don't know how many times people are like, I can't find my remote. They're looking all over, and you're in a pinch. They're ready to, they need to be recovered quick.
Yeah.
And they're looking for you're already excited. You got anxiety.
Right. Yeah.
You can't find before you go out. Get everything organized,
Right.
and know where it's at. So that way, if you're teetering on 3 wheels and ready to roll over, and you got to get a winch line on there for somebody to hold it from going over, you're ready to go.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
throw it in free spool,
Yep.
pull it out,
Yep.
hook it up, and go.
So I love the kit, the Quadratec kit. And
Right.
I can't
Minus the bag.
minus the bag.
Okay.
And if I was designing it myself, I would change the color of the grippy part of it. Just like all the others have all the brand names have differentiating colors at that part. I would do the same. Yeah. So we'll link to that and the RAM mount stuff that I have in the
RAM mount that I have. I'll throw up a link.
We'll throw the links to that. Good stuff.
And RAM mounts were actually designed way back when for the military.
Yes.
For out in the desert, running these devices out in the desert, and they're on Humvees and this and that. They're mounted to the floor. They're mounted to different bars. So they are designed to be abused.
Yep.
They're awesome,
and you can tell
absolutely awesome
when you hold it in your hand. You can tell that it's.
And even with the phone, they give you this little I don't know what it is.
Spider web thing that keeps it from dropping.
Not even dropping, but to hold it centered.
Right.
Like actually when you bring it over top of each side of your phone,
it centers it.
It centers it and it holds it there too, even better, and reduces vibration.
So, and to boot, when you release them, a lot of people drop them out of the cradles and that holds them in.
Keeps
that
it
holds
from,
it in,
yeah.
Accidents happen.
Yeah.
Well, because of the recovery and because of me going into this, we thought it would be, and we kind of already started talking about this being a topic, but we wanted to
hold on before we go into that.
Yeah.
We do we want to hold our Jeep of the Week for next week?
No, let's do it after the main topic before we.
Okay, and we have events too. You want to do it after the main topic as well?
Jesus Christ!
I know.
I put out an agenda. And not one person.
I said to you, do we want to do it?
Do we want to do
events? And everybody was like, "Yeah, great idea."
Not one person edited it up and said, "Hey, can we put that in here? Can we put that in?"
Because you send it in the
I was on my way to Jim Thorpe, okay?
All right.
I was taking a nap. What do you want from me?
Mine was better.
All right.
So my bad. I should have edited the agenda. However, I didn't. There are some events
you can't edit the agenda. It's sent out of a PDF.
I know.
Yes, you can. You can mark it up.
Can you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can. That's right.
Yeah. You can mark it up.
You and your fancy Macs.
You can do it on your phone.
We do have some events anyhow.
All right, let's talk about some events, and
we can hold the Jeep for next week if we're getting long in the tooth.
That Jeep was freaking awesome.
No, we'll do it after the main topic. Let's talk about some events.
All right.
Okay. Events, go.
August 22nd, whole bunch of stuff going on locally.
I know.
There is a Jeep crawl from Sly Fox in Wyomissing to Sly Fox in Pottstown, which is a microbrewery. I think they do micro distillery too.
Oh, really? So it's from one location to the other?
Really good beer. Sly
right.
Fox, I've heard the name.
Cool.
Because I work down that way. I hear it quite often. August 22nd, 2 p.m., location in Wyomissing. Check them out on Facebook.
Cool.
Another one coming up August 22nd. I may do this one. Rigs and Coffee at Lake Watnaka-Mixon, 10 a.m.
Okay.
10 a.m.
Yep. Sounds like a really good. Another one on August 22nd is the Wheel to Heal. It's a suicide prevention awareness. August 22nd, 10 a.m., Faith Church in Orwigsburg. August 22nd, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the Cruise In, Dine Out, Jeep Night, and Music by Steel Creek at Polk Township Volunteer Fire
I was looking at that one.
I might, depends, because Emily's going to be at a softball tournament with my daughter. And then we have...
the JEEP Club.
Yeah, Trail Ride.
No, I was talking about the Mopar Madness on the 29th.
Okay, I didn't pull that one.
Okay.
It's at South Mall.
South Mall,
in Allentown.
Mopar Madness Night,
Yep.
JEEP, which is the Jeep Enthusiast Feast here in Pennsylvania, is invading the Mopar Madness Night with all of our Jeeps.
Okay.
So that is, it's going to be a cool event to get all the Jeeps. We're probably going to park in the back and kind of be the black sheep of the Mopar family.
We could be the bouncers.
Yeah, we could be the bouncers.
Yeah.
So that's that on the 29th if you're not doing anything.
I think I'm in for that.
All right.
I might be coming back from Wheeling. I don't know. Depends if Puddles is in one piece. I'm going with guys from work, so I don't know how that's going to translate.
Depends what guys from work you're going with.
So what else you got?
We have the Jeep Trail Ride coming up.
That's going to be
September
huge.
19th.
Yep. So there's going to be a caravan leaving from the Wawa on Chance Road at 7 a.m.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And going up to AOAA. I know there's a lot of people looking forward to this and talking about it.
We're looking at like 100 Jeeps, probably.
Or more.
We're gonna need to split groups up.
Hey guys, anybody out there that if you're listening to the podcast and you want to be a trail guide or a trail gunner, I'm actually organizing the event, so please reach out to the Jeep Enthusiast of Eastern Pennsylvania on our Facebook page. Just send a personal message, and the message will get to me personally, and I will be able to kind of get in contact and set up some details and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to need some trail guides for that because I know it's going to be...
And also there's the camping. We usually camp out.
Oh, yeah, the night before. Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Well, I think I'm staying up there that weekend.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to have the family, so I'll have to avoid your campsite after about 8 o'clock. But anyway.
We'll rope it off.
Yeah. Caution tape. And then we have, let's see, September 11th and 12th is the 4th annual Jeepers Back to Blue, and that's at Dover Racetrack. There are no more racetrack passes, but you can still go and attend the event. They got vendors, all kinds of stuff going on. We have...
That's a lot of events.
Yeah, well, then the two events that I have left that are East Coast events... Jay Juice, there is the wait list is still open for Greenbrier in West Virginia, October 22nd. So if you want to go to a Jeep Jamboree event, you can throw your name in the wait list. And like I got called for the main wait list, and of course I missed the email. I was on like on one of my benders and not checking email. You only have 24 hours to respond.
Right.
So they do get back to you. And the other one that's still available, they get the wait list open, is North Carolina Jeep Jamboree.
Is that Uwharrie?
Uwharrie.
Yeah, that's a great little place.
Yep. So that as well. And then the last thing.
I want to go.
Yeah.
Uwharrie. Yeah. I want to do one of them.
I want to do the 36 hours Uwharrie.
Speaking of
sleep.
long wheeling trips. If you haven't checked it out yet, episode 2, Flex Rocks and Rollovers, 24 hours hell and back, was released last night.
Oh, wow.
And listen, Marvin Stanall is a genius, and this is an all-star cast.
We call it wheeling porn in our world.
Oh, my
exactly
God,
right.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, check it out, guys.
Check it out.
Absolutely.
They do a great job with that production. I mean, we've talked about that before. But it's really amazing.
The amount of planning that goes into it.
How many video guys they have up there?
Well, that's it's what floors me. I mean, they're setting up lighting before they get there. They've got their cameras and their guys set up.
It's a predetermined trail that they're going.
Right.
That's
all
what I
planned.
said. But that's what I said. The amount of planning and that goes into that is phenomenal by far.
And they pre-wheel it and they go out. And
and
they know these areas too.
Well, I don't know how well the guys that he had wheeling there. Now
I know
Marvin.
He'll go out,
Marvin looked
pre-wheel
at
it,
right,
see where the good obstacles are.
I think he rode it with somebody from the park,
right? Yeah.
But by far, my opinion, best YouTube channel for wheeling, not overlanding, but for wheeling by far. I would say it was Way of Life. Now I definitely say he's taken it to a whole new level.
Oh. All right. Yeah. Well, but we're all winners if that's the case, right? if those are your two guys. They do it right.
They do.
And number 3 on that is the Jeep Life podcast. Right?
Absolutely. Coming hard and fast.
Yeah, guys, check your rearview mirror.
Head over, see our latest wheeling videos that we did release. There's some pretty good ones out there.
As we shoot them on our iPhones, tripping around.
Trail 107, Trail 108. We had a little bit of Trail 162.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Good times for sure. All right, without further
So go ahead.
complications, interruptions, let's talk about our main topic.
This is going to get broken into two.
Listen, guys,
I think it might.
If I disappear, start digging in Terry's backyard.
Winches.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why we discovered discussed what we wanted to do with this is we all have different winches on the front of our Jeeps.
I have two.
You have two.
Three. I have 3 winches right now.
But only one of them is attached to a Jeep.
No, 2 are attached.
No,
the warran's off.
Oh, is it?
The warran's off in Big Red. It's currently sitting in a bubble bath of much needed parts cleaner.
Yes. Yeah, so but we all have different winches, and I would say that they're the 3 industry standards right now. Ish.
So
it's funny you should say that because I was doing some my 3 go-to winches.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 go-to winches. Obviously, Warren. I
Yeah,
just bought
correct.
I love Warren. I have my first one.
Yeah.
Smittybilt.
Yep.
And Super Winch. Those are my 3 go-to.
Okay.
I really don't run, and I haven't run, and I don't recommend anything else.
Well, I'm going to throw a bone in that.
I would consider it. Go ahead.
So there's the Quadratec winch.
Which I think the new one's
The
Stealth.
Yes, is a
the
nice
Stealth
winch.
Quadratec winch. They have a 10,000 and a 12,000.
Yep.
So that's an amazing winch. Absolutely love it. It's great. From what I've used so far, I've taken them apart. I've worked on them, this, that, and the other thing. I know a lot about them. Also, I'm in the processes of taking apart a Warren M8000S, so it's a synthetic winch.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go into this more in depth later about the difference between synthetic and a cable wired winch, but there's actually some key features that I want to put out there to people to say,
Yes.
Don't throw a synthetic line on a cabled winch.
Well, you can, and some of
You
them.
can.
Like my Warren, and that's why I bought my Warren. I didn't really have the money for the synthetic. And the big thing for me was I don't want to run Warren synthetic line. I want to run Max Pole synthetic line on it. So some of them you can. Super Winch, you cannot.
No.
Not all of them, but like their Tiger Shark series, the drums will collapse. The rope will actually, that's why you can't do it. The ropes cinch around the drums and the drums will collapse.
And also there's another reason is because the brake system that they use in them.
Yep.
So it comes down to if they use a friction brake or a cone
Because of heat?
friction
There's
brake.
heat,
Yes.
yep.
Okay.
So if you have a friction brake in a
And I think the
on a
Tiger
winch,
Sharks do. They have
right,
a
and that's what they do.
friction,
Is so what happens is that friction winch,
right.
The braking system, it will heat up so much it'll actually melt the synthetic line
Gotcha.
around. I mean, it won't melt the the second
Right.
layer of
Right, but
line,
the first
but
layer
that first
on there.
layer. But as
Right.
soon as you start pulling on it, it's going to start digging in, and that's when it starts becoming
Yeah.
Right.
kind of a soup on your winch, and you're like, oh geez, what can I do with this?
When I was buying I have a Smittybilt X2O,
Right.
or X20, depending on how you read it.
Yeah.
The reason I bought it is because I couldn't afford getting a synthetic line, but the X2Os and their XRCs, their high-end,
Right.
are built, and they reduce the braking temperature by 66%.
So that's why
So
they
you
use
can
a
use-
cone brake.
Right.
So what it does is they have basically 2 cones.
It's a synchronizer and a transmission.
Yeah. And they just sit in each other, and then as you
And
use
as
it,
tension
it
puts
releases
on-
it,
yeah.
and then as it stops being, kind of comes to a halt, it basically just shoves
The new
this cone.
Quadratec
Right.
one has a cone in it because you
It
can
uses a
get,
cone,
right,
correct.
synthetic,
Right.
And that was a key feature that I agree with you. You want to make sure you can run both steel
Right.
or synthetic in it.
And it's I didn't want an either or situation.
Yeah.
I
Right.
wanted to have the choice, as maybe I could afford a synthetic
Down
line,
the road.
or if I wanted to go to synthetic, that I had that choice.
Right.
And right now I'm running steel cable on mine.
We're going to be changing it to synthetic.
But you know what?
We are.
In all honesty, there's nothing wrong with
steel cable.
No, there really isn't. The only downside, and really you have issues with synthetic as well, and is when. So what happens is if you wrap that, when you get them in a wrapped really neatly, they tell you not to do that. No, you actually should kind of be a mess, and is the easiest way to put it.
I win. Mine's a fucking mess.
And what happens is water goes in and it can't get out, and it
Right.
sits in the bottom layers, and you get rot and stuff like that. And you're going to have that problem with synthetic anyway. You know what I mean? If you have it wrapped type, it's not going to drain out right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with steel. I really don't. I've always had steel lines. I've never had an issue where I've had to replace them. They're durable. The only downside is they carry a lot of kinetic energy if they let loose.
That for me, it's the safety aspect of it.
Right.
With steel, but if you do it right, you're fine. Right. If you practice less likely of having some sort of accident.
Right. And if you take care of it too. I mean, if if you don't have a wire sticking out or something of the sort.
You do. You got to check
You have to inspect it.
But I've never had to replace one.
Yeah.
Never.
Because you took care of it.
Yeah.
So you have the Warren.
I had the Warren. So it's a Warren VR Evo. It's the new generation VR, which is their lower line. But honestly, for as much as I use it, I'm wasting my money on something else higher. Right. Always wanted a Warren. I got that.
It's fully waterproof. Is it?
It's the IP68 rating on it.
Ingress protection 6.8, which is a whole list of criteria that it needs to
pass. Dust and water.
The contactors,
dust,
all that.
water.
Yep.
I can tell you what it is. I know what.
So the idea is eventually I'll probably end up putting a max pull
synthetic line on
XR line on it, 8mm, 100-foot, and I'll use a factor 55, the Pro Link.
Yeah,
that's what I like, and that's what I want to run on there, and I'll be done with it. But another option that I really, really like is that remote has both wireless and wired capability, because too many times I've heard guys whine about using wireless and the things, it'll turn on and off, and or to get it out and the battery's dead, and so you can just plug. This one has a 10-foot cord you can plug in if you have to. Like, I really dig that flexibility. And the other part of it was a low amp draw. So my super winches were pigs. That's why that was the main reason. That and my fridge is the main reason why I put a second battery in the other Jeep, because it would literally, even with the PTO pickup on the trail dash or the super chips, so you could bring the RPM up to, I think the max was $2,000.
Right.
Even with that up all the way, if I ran a full 90-foot in that line, the battery light was on till I was done. I was pulling under load. So this Warren is about 300 amps under max load, which is fairly low.
And that's all in the rating of the motor. That's on them.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways that they make these winches, and some of the ways is that they'll change the planetary gear sets in the gearing side. So they'll use the same motor. So like the X20, they'll have the same rating motor.
Yep. It's a 6.6 horsepower.
Right, 6.6.
Right.
But they'll get the new capacities out of changing the planetary gear set. So they'll have
you end up with a slow line, though.
Right. So you get a slow line. So that's why like a 10,000 versus a 16,000. Yeah, they're going to have the same motor, but your line speed is so much faster on the 10,000 because it's making more rotation.
The Warrens typically are. This one's not super fast. This isn't as fast as like the Xeon and stuff and some of their competitive winches, but it's not bad.
Right. Yeah. So they're putting in the Xenons. They're putting high capacity motors with low capacity with a smaller planetary gear set. Right. So they're putting a lot of amperage and power through that motor, and they're not going to have to do as much work.
Yeah. With the X20 and the XRC, there's a 3-stage planetary gear. So depending on where you are in your line, it will actually change gearing so that the speed stays the same no matter how far out you are, because the drum will.
Well, it changes the ratio for one. Like the further down you get, the ratio actually changes, and usually what you're getting is the advertised weight is the max.
Yep.
So that changes as you're pulling wire in and out.
Yep. And usually, now correct me if I'm wrong, because you're way the expert on this, but the strongest part is about 3 or 4 or 5 runs out of the drum, not when you first pull it out, not the first couple of turns, but as you get into it is where the gearing is stronger. And
you always want to have at least one layer.
5. Well, they say 5 wraps. Warren does anyway.
Right.
Okay.
So
5
wraps.
5 wraps is probably half the drum.
Yeah,
Right.
so half the drum.
Right.
I would say, in studying winches and this whole concept, I would have at least one full layer
wrap
of drum.
So max pull says 12 feet. Max pull on their lines
Right, so 12 feet
is probably one
is
wrap
probably
on that
one
drum.
wrap
Right.
on that drum. And what happens is as you start pulling, it's going to translate that force into the drum and cinch that rope
Right.
onto the drum.
Right.
And they even say with synthetic line, you shouldn't even need to put that screw in on the side.
It'll keep on there just from cinching down.
Just from cinching down on itself.
Right.
You should be able to put your winch on, you like kind of slightly hold it on there as you're getting those first couple wraps, and
Right.
then you load it up to 1,000 pounds of pull force on that drum, and then you start loading it as you put it all on. And they said you should be able to take out that screw easily.
Well, so here's something interesting. This is why I really dig these new max pulls. And I know a couple times I've had to pull synthetic line.
Mm-hmm.
It gets like bound up. It pulls so tight. It pulls
Yep.
it in between the other.
It like fingers in it.
Yes.
Yep.
And
It's-
so max pull actually puts a sleeve on their line that keeps it from doing that.
Right.
Which is really cool. And plus they have the last 12 foot is a different color. So
Right,
when you're
right,
at the end
right,
of the,
right.
Yeah.
they tell you not to pull too much into that,
Right.
that zone. But that's another downside to, and you know what? It's not just synthetic. Honestly, I've gotten a point where I've bound my, my cable up
Sure,
already too.
sure.
So
Well, that comes to the big difference between steel and synthetic is I feel like you have to care for synthetic a little bit more.
You do.
Because it's more susceptible to UV.
Yep.
But it's also dirt. If
Yeah.
you get dirt in there,
Dirt, water,
and then
water.
you finger,
Yeah.
cinch it down, that's just grinding dirt down there and breaking fibers.
Yeah.
And that's not good because
So I've seen a cable come back where
So
it's,
have I.
it's cinched together like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's not supposed to happen.
no.
I've in all honesty, I mean, we've had to, I've had them on my super winch where I've had to not free spool, but I've had to back the winch off with the vehicle weight on it, to
Yeah.
pull
Yep.
it out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
we'll get bound up too.
and you definitely want to care for that, no matter what
Absolutely.
line you have. But it's synthetic for me. When the switch over, I definitely want to put a cover on it because I want to keep it out of the sun. I don't have a recessed bumper,
Yeah.
so it doesn't sit down in there for protection. So I'm going to have to take a little bit more care about it. But I think if you're going to spend the money on recovery and getting a winch, I don't think that's one of the places you should cheap out on.
No.
And the Stealth, the Warren, the Smittybilt, those are definitely not the cheaper.
If you're buying a winch, you're looking at easily nothing less than $400.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, and that's I was going to say that I would not do nothing. I'm not knocking them, but here's the deal. Like, and I guess we can get into it next time. We'll get into some winch safety next time.
Yeah.
But
Here's your homework for this week. Ready, everybody? Go on YouTube and look up how to properly winch.
yeah, you'd be surprised.
And I'm not talking about Joe Schmo in his backyard teaching you how to winch.
Or
I'm
pick
talking
up your
about
winch.
somebody.
I mean, they have a lot of good stuff within. Like when I got my Warren winch, first thing I did was grab the
instruction manual.
Yeah,
They
and I started
direct you to their website to
to look how
teach
to
you.
right. So I should. Okay, I'm going to fully disclose this. Amy bought it for an early birthday present for me. I didn't really buy it.
Well, we all need that.
I'm a kept man.
I need that.
She's so good to you.
She is.
I need that.
So anyway, but yeah, I picked up that manual and I read through that, and there's a lot of things that I had forgotten about.
Yeah.
There were new things that I'd learned. Like Warren actually tells you, I always hear 1.5 times the weight of the vehicle, 2 times the weight of the vehicle. Warren actually has a specific number, 1.78 times the weight of the vehicle is what they recommend.
Right.
Minimum.
Right,
to winch. And another thing that people always do is they use that snatch block to double up pulling power.
Right.
You can run it back to second line back to the vehicle, and then you're going from 10,000 pounds to 20,000 pounds. But you have a planetary gear set in there that's gonna break. And especially when you're using cheaper winches, that's where they're saving money, is in parts like planetary gears.
They're using regular steel gears instead of chromoly gears.
Or forged the cast components instead of forged components. Not that mine has, not for that price, but there's definitely a difference in...
And the quality of electronics that are in them as well.
That's a big deal with the contactors and stuff like that.
Contactors and So... The new thing for winches is wireless remotes. Yep. It's awesome. It's cool. Yeah, it's nice. You just grab the remote out of your center console and just press the button and go.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things on this, and that's where it translates into the style of remote that you have too, is because there's 3 different frequencies you can use out there. There's 315 hertz, which is a standard kind of communication line that you don't have to pair a device.
Right.
It's you just turn it on, and it's good to go.
And I think that's what mine is.
And that's what Warren uses a lot of. And also Smittybilt uses it too, but also there's some downfalls in that as well, is that I could have my own remote and I could be within 10 feet.
There's no frequency.
There's no frequency that I'm running on. There's no pairing. And then there's 2.5 hertz or something like that, or 215 hertz, and that is where you need an actual pairing. So that's what the Stealth winch uses by Quadratech. They use a pairing system.
Then I can't screw with you.
You can't screw with me. I can't screw with you, but you physically have to pair those devices together so they learn each other. And that also translates into, the quality of electronics in that device. Warren uses absolutely highest quality parts and stuff like that. So, I've taken apart their VR, Xenon, whatever. The top of their line. You put that remote in your hand and you're like, holy crap, this is quality.
Yeah.
And it gives you an LCD screen and you can control your lights off of it.
Temperatures.
They give you the amount of line out, this, that. And you can only get so accurate with the amount of line out, this and that. But, the Stealth, it was going after that Warren.
And is it for the money?
It has a absolutely
shitload of features.
Yep.
It's got a drum light on it that you can see.
Yes.
It's the little things that are really nice. And it's all high quality parts. They use aluminum housings, which is really nice because it cuts down on weight.
Which was another reason. That's it. So the Warren mine's on aluminum, and I like that. It was 56 pounds. My super winch was 90 pounds on my own.
So my Smittybilt's 99.
Yeah.
Right. I took a Badlands. Yeah, which is a Harbor Freight version.
Yep.
Off the front of Puddles.
Yeah.
That thing is 900 pounds.
I know.
And I put on a Quadratech Stealth, the synthetic, real nice. And I'm like, oh, this is really nice to sit in here and put on the front because it's really light.
Yes.
So that Quadratech winch was number 2 on my. I kept flipping back and forth between that and a Warren.
Right.
And the only reason that I want the Warren really option wise was no option difference. I just always wanted a Warren. I never had one.
I have one.
I know.
So I have a contractor series of the Warren.
Okay.
So my Warren is more or less rated for the front of somebody's job site truck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it works just as well.
Right.
Unless you completely sink it in mud and grime and grit, and it doesn't work anymore because that's what I did. But you know what? They're so
I don't
easy
think that
to
one
service.
They are, and there's parts all over.
And it's not waterproof.
Yours wasn't an IP68.
Right.
Yep.
But there's parts everywhere. Warrens are great. They're easy to service. Literally 8 bolts and the whole entire gear set's off.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's easy to go through this, that, and the other thing. Right. So, quality standard, it's Warren. And then I would absolutely put the Quadratech Stealth behind the Warren.
Yeah.
And then the Smittybilt. The only thing that I don't like about the Smittybilt is some safety features. Because, when you turn the Smittybilt on, which there's a toggle switch on the side to be able to use to use the wireless feature on it. There's no timeout, timed set amount of time that winch is going to turn off in.
Right, it's on.
It's
or
on
it's off.
or it's off.
Yep.
Wirelessly.
Yep.
So that means only the remote has that turn off feature. So if you're jostling around in your vehicle, you hit the power button.
Right.
Your winch can start up on the front of your vehicle driving down the road or something like that. So,
I've heard stories where they'll pull the Fairlanes into them or
I've seen Fairleads that are bent in half, broken half, bumpers bent in half.
Well, I've seen people. You're right. People. I mean, the contactors stick or the remote stick, and then the winch doesn't quit. It just goes for it, and that's kind of scary.
And it's max load. I mean,
I have yet to use it wirelessly.
They pull themselves apart. I had it almost happen on. We have a super winch. I bought one for the school trailer, the car trailer, and 2 years ago it stuck. And man, I mean, it just goes. Yeah, it just started pulling itself apart. Now, luckily for that, there was enough clearance underneath it that the hook went underneath, and then came up, and then it just bent the one bar, and then by then I was able to kill the battery power. But I mean, they'll tear. So really good point. Make sure you got good electronics.
And that's the other thing is that the next weak link in this whole winch system is your battery.
Yep.
So it'll actually, I've seen them melt batteries.
Oh, they 300 amps?
It'll pull itself in, and then it'll stick. And when we say stick, it means that the solenoid on top, it actually
the contacts
stick together. They don't release.
It's a solenoid, and it sometimes
and then it heats up so much that it'll heat up on the coils of the actual motor, and then that'll all translate because it's so much draw back to your motor. And I've seen it melt batteries.
So let me ask you this. Now, does the Quadratech winch come with a circuit breaker?
Circuit breaker inside of it?
No, in the you can put on the battery, or does it have a circuit breaker and a solenoid box?
No, it does not.
Why does Warn not either? Like Super Winch does.
Yeah.
I don't know about Smitty Built.
You mean like a fusible link or something?
No,
like that?
They come with the circuit breaker bank. So when I put my Super Winch on, it had 3 circuit breakers. Each was 100 amps or something like that in series. Mm-hmm. It beats series. But anyway,
can you turn them off?
No, but if it draws too much, it opens up until it cools down, and then it automatically closes again, and then you can use the winch. Right. But why would you not? I mean, if you have a cable, I was thinking about this when I installed my Warn, and I didn't have time
going
to do the
straight
homework.
From there to the battery.
So if that cable rubs through somewhere, I've got a dead short. You've ever seen O-gauge cable light up on fire? I mean, it'll burn a vehicle to the ground. Yeah. Why would you not put some kind of resetting?
I don't know. I use my
breaker?
rad fan to cut my Badlands wire in half. I don't know, and that's a very good question. I can try to figure that out.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I'm wondering, do I need to buy one, or is there something that, so even if, and I'm sure maybe Quadratech and Warn, maybe they have some kind of circuit breaker in them internally in the contactor, in the solenoid pack. But what happens if you rub that line through? I mean, that line is just moving around. It's I mean, you're dead short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a great.
Well, I mean, if you dead short it before that.
Well, that's why you put
this.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I liked Super Winch. You got that circuit breaker.
You're talking on the wire, though.
It was on the battery terminal to the wire, and then the wire went to. So anywhere that shorts out in front of there, I mean, it literally can short anywhere in that cable, and it's going to trip circuit breakers. Right. I was wiring up the Warn. I'm looking for I'm like, where the hell's the circuit breaker?
No, mine goes straight from the solenoid to the battery.
Most of them do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Interesting. So that we've got it started with this, and we'll keep going. I think winch safety is probably going to be maybe episode 3 or something of this series. But we wanted to get started and get that talking, because I think winching is.
So we got 3 winches
needed,
really that we're talking about.
Yeah,
right.
We can even throw in a 4th. We can throw in the Badlands, and that can be our. I don't even know what you want to call it.
Our control. I don't know.
Control group.
Or that standard winch that you throw on the trailer. That's what a Badlands is good for. You throw it on your trailer, and you use it to pull up the car or whatever.
Sure.
That's not going to start.
Right.
Great grandfather's barn.
Right.
So that's your baseline, and then we're getting into true recovery winches that are used to get you out of that pinch.
Yep. So stay tuned. we're gonna rock this for a while.
Yeah. We're gonna
we have a video ready to come out for
Right.
winches, and we're gonna do the winch fun video where we're gonna just drag stuff all around Billy's yard, see which one works best.
Yes.
Wait, no, not my yard. No, absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
Yep.
And then we're gonna get a video of me getting stuck somewhere
Using his winch.
using my winch.
I love it. Let's get Billy stuck.
Why not?
Why not?
Absolutely.
Just don't break anything.
And so we do have a Jeep of the week, but
we do.
Do we want to throw this in now, or do we? Let's
sit on it till next week.
Let's put it in next week, and I'll put it in
because there's
I'll
a
put it
lot
in
of
the
history
agenda.
to this Jeep that I want to include. With
All right,
it
cool.
Because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of people involved in the projects.
It's a black sheep.
Yeah.
Give it its due.
Yeah,
But
Right.
this Jeep is sweet. Like,
it
Yeah.
is.
if it was, I
It's
wanted
an
to. I
animal.
was like, ooh,
Yeah,
I like that. I want it.
I love it.
There's some history to this thing, so I want to
Awesome.
make sure we have time to talk about
Cool.
that.
Where can we be found?
Absolutely. Jeez,
that
I was
time.
waiting for this one.
It's that time.
So, everybody, I want you to head over to our YouTube channel. We're getting a lot more traction on our YouTube channel. We're getting a lot more videos released. So head over, type in the search bar Jeep Life Podcast, hit that subscribe and like button, and you're going to get the most up to date with our latest videos that are coming out. You're actually going to get an email. It's going to help you send directly over to our YouTube channel to see our latest videos and stuff like that. Off-roading, our driveway mechanic, Mr. Frank. He's sometimes our guest on the podcast.
Yeah. He's
And
that's why I haven't seen you. He was on the line. Yeah.
no, you didn't see Don that
That's
he was
right.
on. Yeah.
That's right.
And also head over to our Instagram page, Jeep Life Pod. And that's JeeplifePod.
The pod.
The pod. It's all one word. And then also we have our Facebook page, which is you're going to get the most absolute up-to-date, us going live out on trails and this and that. And that's the Jeep Life Podcast. So make sure you head over to all of our social media. You're going to stay most up-to-date with the podcast and all of our adventures.
Yeah. And you know what? Send us your Jeep of the week. Send us your question. Our next non-winch show is
An awesome
It's
question.
an awesome question from a listener, and we might throw it next week because I really like this question, and then we'll come back.
Absolutely, because that was a very good question.
Awesome
and it has
question.
to do with kind of, I drive one.
Yeah.
I have a Cherokee.
Yeah.
So gentleman was asking about
let's-
some stuff.
Let's keep it under our hat. And
We got to give him a little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser, all right.
So it's about Cherokees. Okay.
Yeah. And then
Little teaser.
Little teaser. And then, it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
It will be.
So until next time, hit all of our social medias, send in info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and we'll see you later. Here's a big Jeep wave to you. Wow, great episode, guys.
Absolutely
Nice.
was.
Hey, everybody out there in live land, thanks for tuning in with us. Thanks for participating. And
Facebook, YouTube. And if you're watching live on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button.
go ahead and hit
please.
it right now. Hit it right now.
And if you're watching live on Facebook, head over to our YouTube channel real quick. Hit that subscribe button. It's going to help us out.
Yeah, it'll mean the world to us. Anyway, thanks for coming in, guys. We appreciate it. Have an awesome day. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.